welcome to the Riverfront Reds Show, where we will attempt to finally answer that age-old question, was it a hot dog or a smoked sausage? Along with Tim Daniel, thanks so much for making another appearance back on the Riverfront. I am Seth Shaner. Tim, great to see you.
Man, you guys just couldn't keep me away. It's only been, what, a month?
Yeah, well, I'm on a rotation now, and so the roulette rule had you come up, so here you are.
Good. Well, I'm excited to be back, man. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. I've been keeping up, of course, listening to your show. I've been listening to Seth and Ben. Skylar and Ben on Sundays, and I've been listening to Owen and Caroline over on Welcome to the Jungle. And I know Jack and Ted just had their final episode.
Yeah.
It's been really, really fun over at the Riverfront, even without me. I miss being over here, but I'm always Riverfront through and through. So
there you go. Well, we miss you too, and I'll tell you, when spring training start, you and I made top 10 lists. I think we settled on most important, but then we kind of threw in however we wanted it to be, and I don't know. It was what it was. As we look back on those lists, we'll do that later tonight and on this episode. We're recording Thursday night. And we'll look at kind of, hey, it's not the same anymore. And I think you and I both agree we had some guys like that. So that'll be fun. But first, let's talk a little bit about the news of the week. The Reds finished a 4-game set. What a weird way to do it, though, right? I mean, you play a game, you get another game rained out. And, boy, to have a doubleheader the next day against a division opponent. I know you're not playing 19 games a season anymore, but that struck me as interesting that they wanted to get this out of the way as soon as possible.
Yeah, me too, because I think St. Louis comes to town 2 more times this year, if I think I correctly looked at the schedule. So I was kind of genuinely shocked by that as well, especially because it was a 4-game set. But I guess, they found a way to make it happen. Yesterday, obviously, was not a very fun day for Reds fans. Today was much more fun, but whatever. I mean, you got to get to 162 somehow, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, hey, so a lot of things happen. Obviously, I've got some more on maybe a cause for yesterday that we lost the Reds lost the doubleheader as they did. Today, the offense wasn't doing that great until the rain delay came. So things went well there as they ran away from the Cardinals to split the series. And, hey, they've got a good stretch. 6 of 8, I think they've won. So,
yeah,
definitely good. Ellie De La Cruz and Gavin Lux both saw double-digit hitting streaks go away, but they're still getting on base. They're still smoking the ball. There's a little inkling that maybe Matt McLean is starting to heat up a little bit.
Yep.
And as much as I want him to succeed, especially missing all last year, he hit the IL earlier this year, and that really disrupted him, I think. I'm really rooting for him, obviously. And it's in the same vein, I want your take too. Noelvi Marte. I mean, how can you not be happy for that guy? He sees the opportunity when given, because Jeimer Candelario just wasn't getting the job done. We'll have more on him a little bit later. But, man, Marte hitting 328 with a 967 OPS.
Yeah, man, he's been unbelievable. As I'm pulling up his Baseball Savant page just because I looked at it earlier and kind of slipped my mind. So he doesn't have enough statistics right now to qualify. I have too many tags open, so I'm trying to figure out where you are on my computer. There you are. But if he were to qualify, he would be an elite in expected slugging, bat speed, strikeout rate. He is in the 97th percentile in sprint speed right now. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. Not just offensively. Obviously, the offense is great. He had 2 hits today. But when Noelvi Marte is bringing to them defensively, if you look at right now, if you go around the diamond in the infield, and Seth, you may disagree with me, but I can't. I mean, probably since even the 2012 team wasn't this athletic. The 2010 team wasn't this athletic, but
no.
Maybe the Sabo Larkin era teams with Pokey at second, even maybe those runs. I don't know. I'm kind of connecting eras right there, but I can't recall the Reds having these 4 infielders that are this athletic playing together.
The 2010 to 2013 stretch. The problem is toward the end, Scott Rowland was just getting a little older and not. Right. And we'll always remember, I guess, unfortunately, the error in the 2012 division series against the Giants. So if you were talking about 2010 Scott Rowland, but 2011 Joey Votto when he came back and won a Gold Glove after, that was kind of one thing he hadn't done yet after he won the MVP. And Brandon Phillips was very athletic.
Yeah, Cozart was decently athletic.
Cozart by 2012 certainly was. I mean, I'm really happy, certainly. And the funny thing is, CES when he was playing first base was showing great athleticism that I didn't know he possessed.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's in defense. You can't just say you want to play better defense.
right.
And so there's something going on. And Freddie Benavidez is a holdover from the previous regime, and yet I just don't think the attention was paid. The last couple of years, and they would talk about it, but it just didn't really happen. And you're seeing the fruits of their labor because it's not an accident when somebody like Barry Larkin talks about all the work Freddie put in. I
No,
know
not at
I know
all.
Larkin has ties back to Freddie back when they played on the Reds together, but there is something to it. And the idea that Ellie De La Cruz was showing up early at spring training and working, on the backfields, it just speaks volumes. If your best players are working hard, I mean, but also, Tim, don't you think there's just some people like they must have a program. There's a way to get to the spot the best because all these guys are professional athletes.
Right.
And so you bring in the new regime, and you even Freddie might have sat down with Tito through the off season and come up with some new ideas and things like that. And the infield defense, certainly, you're right, is really good.
It is really good. I mean, McLean and Ellie is your double play combo. It's obviously really fun. Noel Marte. I know he can kind of take his time on some plays, but he seems to always make it work. And Spencer Steer, who I really thought should have been the first baseman in the first place, is finally playing in the field, and he's been really good. I mean, hasn't
Yeah,
really done anything to really make it like he's got some hard hit balls that he's caught on the bounce. He's done a really good job covering the bag when needed. And look, they're going to get Tyler Stevenson back potentially this weekend. And so that just adds to the athleticism they're going to have.
well, and I hate to keep beating up on Jamer Candelario, but third or first base, whenever you see almost anybody other than him there, it looks better.
That's
But
true.
and
Yeah.
you mentioned Marte, like I don't know if you paid attention last week. He pat the glove, so many times before he throws. And look, sometimes the mechanism, right, of making sure you do everything correctly. But man, was it game one of the Cardinals series? There was a fast developing play, and he didn't have time to pat the glove, and he just rocketed over there. And even my son kind of looked at me and goes, "Well, he didn't, look down at the baseball that time, did he, Dad?" And I was like, "Nope, he didn't. He did a great job."
Yeah, with Washington coming to town, hopefully he's doing that with like the Keibert Ruizes, not the James Woods and Dylan Cruzes. So
I was watching them a little bit against the Phillies before we came on. They're 13-18 going into the night. They're playing the Phillies tonight. This will come out on Friday, so by that point, that'll be a final. They are winning as we record this, but I don't know about you. They've got some good young players, obviously. So I think they're in much better shape than like the Rockies, right?
For
Of
sure.
all teams. But at the same time, don't you think the approach needs to be, and it should have been that way against the Marlins. They didn't take 2 or 3. They only got 1. But you need to go into a series like this saying has to be 2, and hopefully it's 3.
Well, especially considering you have your 3 big guys
Mm-hmm.
getting the ball in the series.
That's right.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Well, hey, before we get to the update of our top 10 list, and I remember, so when we birthed that idea, it was, hey, we're going to be doing this together all season. So let's get together.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So we didn't do an opening day version as we had planned, but we'll get it now on May 1st as we record this. So we did the first week of spring training. Now we're here a month into the season. We have a clear picture of who can help where and things like that, and who is doing the job. So most important, best, however we're looking at it, we'll do that in just a little bit. But it's time to actually look at something. I've been workshopping the best name, but I think like at least 2 of the last 3 shows I have recorded with various guests, there's been something we've dove into with Tito, with Terry Francona, something we're going to read into something he's saying or doing, and I can't decide on the name of the segment. Maybe we can workshop it. Is it reading into Tito, or is it putting Tito under the microscope? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we're going to talk about him virtually every week.
Tito Talks, like a TED Talk.
There you go, a Tito Talk. Yeah. So he's so fascinating. I find myself just pondering, like, because sometimes he comes off as aw shucks, as if, oh, I didn't even mean to say that. But other times you can see he's doing it on purpose. He's in one way very politician like, but in another way he's not, because you don't hate him. So,
Good point.
but I get this from him, and it's like, hey, a few weeks ago, even okay, from day one, right? Noelvi Marte was going to earn his way, and he was probably not going to make the big league roster to start the season. We all understood that. And you go back to then, they broke camp without him. And word was he's working hard. And just like Alexis Diaz, he had to prove himself to Tito.
Yeah.
Okay. There are no preconceived, hey, you've already earned this for me because Tito hadn't been there before. And then out of necessity, pretty much, they call him up. What was when McLean hit the IL. And there was a few moves at that time, but he didn't even really play, right? 2 or 3 days went by. And I know he didn't start. And then
Yeah.
finally, like on Saturday of that week, he started a game.
Yeah, he
And
pinch ran in San Francisco.
yeah. But
Yeah.
he finally got sent down. But all you heard about was he's out there before the games working on his infield. He's really, and Mike Napoli, right, worked on him with his follow through on his swing. And he's taking the instruction and running with it. And that's all you heard about in Louisville. That's all you heard about when he wasn't getting. I mean, shoot, you get called up, you're getting the big league money, that kind of thing. You're not getting to play. What might you be tempted to do, right? I mean, well, they're not going to play me. I'm just a placeholder. But no, he was out there. He just worked. And now he's come back, and it seems like Francona, the Jedi mind tricks he played on him seem to have worked. And here we are, and he's just doing great.
He is, and yeah, like you said, the redemption story. Like we all love a redemption story, right? And this has been kind of the ultimate one because, I definitely always thought last year that he wasn't as bad as he played. I didn't think that was who he was. Now I didn't know if it was something where I felt like he was just pressing, and now maybe he was. Kind of looking back, he talked about Tito conversations about what basically telling Candelaria to stop pressing,
Yeah.
and for sure. But with Marte, just looked like he was just kind of like, he definitely looked like he was trying a little too hard to kind of redeem himself last year. And then, like you said, doesn't break camp with the big league team, goes down to Louisville, is one of the top hitters in the International League for a few weeks before he gets called back up to the big league club. And then, like you said, gets sent back down, comes back up, and he's become the guy at third base and has earned it.
Right.
Now, I don't know if he's hitting over his head right now. He very well could be. But I have a hard time believing that it's going to be much worse than this. I don't think he has a significant decline by any means. The talent level, like you said, the new swing, the aggressiveness, as far as like if he does hit an infield ground ball, he works really hard on getting trying to beat the throw, and just an excellent defender. I guess that's what happens when you put 3 shortstops on the left side of the infield. So,
Sure.
yeah,
What?
you take it.
No, but the other side of that is, he didn't just like grow out of shortstop, and maybe he was never quite as good as Ellie or some of the Arroyo or some of these guys, or even McLean for that matter. But
Yeah,
he's still very athletic as per your sprint rate. I mean, that was incredible to hear that. Like he's just very good. And I think when he got caught up in 23, he got caught up in the euphoria of all the young guys just doing a great job. I mean, Will Benson hit 280 that year.
Christian Ocasio-Strand looked like the next like power hitter.
Right. So, and he may still be. But I had said sometime during spring training, and I was worried that Marte maybe couldn't overcome what happened last year. But that idea that Marte, CES, or Jamer Candelario, one or two of them had to start hitting like with good slugging, right? They needed to hit at least doubles, if not home runs, at least doubles. Marte's filling that role, and if Spencer Steer's healthy the rest of the way, then he will too.
Yeah, so right now he has a 967 OPS, that being Marte.
Yeah.
And his spray chart is beautiful. It's
Yeah,
really beautiful.
Yeah, he's not pool happy at all.
Actually, he is very, very much resistant to the opposite field. He has one opposite field hit right now. It's a double on the warning track.
Oh, okay. I must be thinking about that one then, because I was thinking of I thought he was going the other way a little more.
Yeah, I would love to see you like I love Baseball Savant. I spend way too much time on there. But I would love to like just do the deep dive of like how many of his hits would be homers in Great American Ballpark, because he did play a lot of the road trips.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, but he's been awesome, man. I mean, I don't really know who else everyone else is playing at third base right now around the league, but I think he's certainly making a case to be a Gold Glover.
Oh, if he has, well, yeah, and even if he has a May and even part of June, like he's been playing lately, people won't even remember that he didn't start the year on the roster. He might even be up for All-Star consideration at that point, but that's obviously,
Getting
uh,
ahead of our skis, as Chad would say.
yeah, that's right. Now, as we go under the microscope with Tito a little more, the way he dealt with Candy, and I've teed this up a few times. We've brought it up. Remember back in the winter time, Chris Garber and we did a show where we basically reviewed the 2004 Red Sox documentary on Netflix on this show, and the way Francona, and then the way it was reported that Francona shared what he said to Candelario, it really reminded me a lot of um, like what Tito and Nomar Garcia
I was
Parra.
going to say the same thing. Yeah.
All right. And so, sorry, I got a text message that surprised me. Former quarterback texted me. So crazy.
Did I have
Um,
to get another recruit? They only get like 7,000 of them.
no, this is a Rose Bowl champion, though. I will say that.
Craig Krenzel?
No, he never won the Rose Bowl.
Oh.
Joe Germain.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Also played for
um,
the Bengals.
yeah, for a minute. Yeah. So Garcia Parra, certainly more of a legend in Boston. He came up with Jeter and A-Rod and was part of basically the shortstop version of like, remember Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, and Duke Snyder back in the
Yeah.
50s. That's what it really was like back there in
Heck,
the mid to late 90s.
the Griffey Jr. Bonds 90s outfielders. Like,
Yeah, and so that was a lot different than what we're talking about with Candy, but the basic facts are that Tito did not have the history with Nomar, and Nomar was scuffling, and he just benched him. And then but the thing
dealt him at the deadline. Yeah.
the thing that Terry Francona, though, back then and even now, it seems like, is he mans up, so to speak, and he hits it head on. It's kind of like, remember Marty and even Hal McCoy and some of these guys, they always said if they said anything or wrote anything that was negative, they made sure they're in the clubhouse the next day.
Yeah.
Well, this is from the manager's side. I could see a manager just say, well, I didn't put you in the lineup. We're not even going to talk about it. Right. I mean, you could see that. And yet, with the Nomar thing in the documentary, and then Charlie Goldsmith documented it most more than anybody, this idea of, hey, I didn't play you much on the end of that road trip, and here's why.
Yeah.
And these types of meetings, again, I mentioned earlier, they may have taken place when David Bell was the manager, but we don't know because it was never reported on.
Now, David Bell's issue is, why didn't you play the guy? Was what always made us mad.
That's true too. That's
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah.
But Francona, he put it out there because he wanted it out there. He wanted people to know where he was, and it's all part of a plan. And the funniest thing too, though, and I've got a bit of a story for you. Candy the next day reports with a sore back.
Yeah. Inflated K rate. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to come up
sometimes.
with like inflamed ERA. What would that be for? I think I like that, inflated or inflamed K rate. That's good. He was benched for most of that road trip, especially the second half of his. That was a 9-game trip, I think. He didn't. I don't think he started like 5 of the last 6 games or something to that trip.
So he was supposed to play in Colorado on the last day because he had a really good career against was it Kyle Freeland that was supposed to start that day? They got scratched. It was
No,
somebody.
Freeland made his start. Yeah.
Whoever it was,
Yeah.
Ryan Feltner.
Okay. Yeah.
So he had a really good career against Ryan Feltner, like a 1.3 OPS or something like that, and they scratched his starter that day. And so he ended up in the lineup still. And it was like, oh, crap.
So last night, here's the thing. I was at soccer practice pickup, and one of my son's teammates, his dad's a huge Guardians fan. I mean, as big as you and I are a Reds fan, he's a Guardians fan. You can just tell. I think he told me he's been to like 30-some opening days, which that's saying something, because up there, it might be snowing 2/3 of the time they have opening day up there. But he said there in Cleveland, in the 11 years that Tito was the manager, he says there's the regular IL, and then there's the Tito IL. And he's like, Francona can't say, hey, you need to tell us you've got an injury. Like, that's, the Players Association, baseball, everybody would come in and be upset. The Reds brass can't say, wouldn't it be better if you went on the injured list? Because Candy does not have options remaining. They can't just send him down. So for Candy to do what he did, I'm guessing it got a little bit of urging, but it's probably it's got to be the best thing for everybody. It frees up the spot on the roster. It gives Candy at least a mental break here to start, and then he can do a rehab assignment and hopefully get at least back to where would wouldn't it be cool if the Reds could actually trade him? But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and so not to bring my show in here, but I have being on every game, I get so many trade candies, trade Alexis Diaz, trade candy, trade Alexis Diaz. It's like, if you guys don't want them, why do you think other big league teams do with how they're performing right now?
Well, and Candy, the other thing is there's like, they owe him his weight in
30 mil, yeah.
gold bars, like it's.
So can I backtrack real quick on what you were saying? Like more agreeing with you, but you mentioned that Francona has this ability to kind of say what he wants to say
Mhm,
and put it because he wants people to hear it. The
mhm.
thing I love about that though is it's after he's had the conversation with the player.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? So Candelario is like, yeah, we already talked to him. Where
Mhm,
Alexis Diaz, I don't know how they talked to him between the doubleheader before he went like we just aren't. But today it comes out that he's like, yeah, he's like, we told him we still believe in him. We can't afford for him to find himself at the big league club right now. Games are too important. So but when it's coming to the media and we're hearing about it, the players already heard about it. It's not like
mhm.
a Rob Dibble, Lou Piniella kind of thing.
Or it's not like a certain beat writer running into Tucker Barnhart at the airport and reporting that, hey, the other catcher must be getting on the IL or demoted because Tucker Barnhart's going to make his Major League Baseball debut.
I forgot
And
about that.
Brian Price asked how it helps the Cincinnati Reds for that beat writer to report that, as if it's the writer's job to try to help the Reds be better.
Oh my god! So yeah, because was it Cincy shirts made the shirt? It's just Brian Price's face. It's the whole quote across it.
I mean, you know, I don't want to go down a road too far, but on the biggest thing in the world is, especially as someone, I have a journalism degree, like it's not a beat writer's job to
Nope.
do their jobs. Like it's just
Correct.
not. Uh,
Correct.
Team broadcasters are paid by the team, by the franchise, so maybe that's a little different, but it is not a independent, you know, a company that's not owned by the Reds. It's not their job. It's their job to report on things. Um, anyway, let's move on. Before we get to our top 10 lists, I have a thought, and this was percolating earlier in the week because I heard Austin Hayes say how glad he was that he took the deal for from the Reds, and that this is where he landed. Because I mean, you could have landed. I mean, I remember talking to Greg Vaughn on Red Leg Roundtable toward the end of last calendar year, and it was like, well, yeah, I got a nice paycheck and went down to Tampa Bay, but it was really hard because we weren't winning, and it just ate away at him. And he was there multiple years. I'd forgotten that initially.
Yeah.
But this was coming. I was like, oh, this is something we need to talk about on the show. I I think they should give Austin Hayes an extension, and I think proof of why it's so important comes from the fact that he's banged up again, which that's totally opposite than normal. Normally, I'd say if a guy's, and it might be the same injury, just inflamed or acting back up. Normally, if a guy is having issues with injury, you'd be like, hey, let's hold off, let's not re-sign him. But you saw the lineup in the doubleheader; like it just didn't look the same.
Yeah.
There's it might be coincidental, but the fact is that Lux and Ellie's hitting streaks ended without Hayes in the lineup.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
but
without him, they average 3 runs a game, but with him, I think they average 7 or 8.
yeah, and he's just been great. Now, listen, it's partly because the Reds didn't sign enough guys or trade for anybody to add pop to the lineup. That's why I said, Marte or CES or these guys have to come through because they just don't have the pop besides Hayes. But he makes Ellie better. He gives him somebody behind him in the lineup. He keeps the lineup moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go right, left a lot better. He with that right-handed bat. And again, I know they scored more runs Thursday, but again, that came after the rain delay, and the Cardinals had to kind of abandon their starting pitching plans because of the long wait. I don't know, a 3-year deal. What do you think? A 3-year extension beyond this year?
I'm definitely open to it. So going to bring up my old friend Baseball Savant again, looking at
Oh, he's been great though. I don't even
yeah.
have to look at it.
There's a lot of red that he just hasn't qualified for yet because he hasn't had enough at bats.
Right.
but average exit velocity 92 percentile. Expecting batting average is 346 right now. Expected slugging is 725. Barrel, he's in the 20th percentile if he qualified. Hard hit in the top 50 percentile, and sweet spot in the top 40 percentile. So, yes, certainly right now he looks like he looks like the part of the guy that they signed. I would like to see another couple months of this before I'm like, you know,
Sure.
give him the biggest contract in the team. Because everyone wanted to sign Nick Castellanos, and since he left the Reds, it hasn't been very good. He's had some postseason moments for sure, but hasn't consistently didn't home run the Pope died, so didn't help a lot of us with our FanDuel accounts. So
Yeah, you were out on that ledge. I'm not saying throw a lot of money at it,
sure,
but also if you can get ahead of it early, you're only paying him $5 million this year. I feel confident if he can shake this hamstring issue that he's going to earn way more than $5 million worth, as a player this year. So if you can come together with him and he likes it there enough and he sees it's an upcoming franchise and all these things, I think the two parties could come together. Now, if you wait till the off season, then you're competing with everybody else, and there's all kinds of things there too. So, but it is what it is. He was non-tendered, right, by the Phillies, and that's why he was available. And he had such bad injury and illness luck last year that's why the Reds are in the position they're in. They got him for only $5 million, and they look like, looks like Nick Krall did his job and then some.
Yeah, he's. I'm hoping that he breaks the really good 1-year outfielder tradition of Shin-Soo Choo, Greg Vaughn, and Mike Cameron, and Ron Gant. Even though Ron Gant was technically 2 years, he just missed a year.
Yeah, he didn't get to play in '94.
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope that we break the cycle with him, and he does decide to be both parties can decide to keep him around for another couple of years.
Skylar Webker, host of Late Night Reds, is still looking for that free agent signing that has paid off over more than 1 year. And actually, somebody randomly tweeted me on another. It was my same account, but I was tweeting about something else, like another show I do. And the guy was like, "No, Francisco Cordero, he was a good long-term signing." I was like, "Actually, yes, he was."
Thank you for saying this, by the way. And technically, Aroldis Chapman was a free agent signing as well. So,
well, yeah, okay,
yeah, technically,
yeah, but he was still under the rules of the 6 years of before arbitration, and then 6 years before free agency.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, Cordero is much better than given credit for.
Yeah,
that really bums me out because I think he deserved better than how he's treated.
I guess, and the funny thing is, like, I still have a Facebook account that shows me my memories, and apparently in the 2009, 10, 11 range, or 2008, 9, 10 range, because Cordero was he not there in 10?
He was.
Okay, yeah. So my beef with him always was Baker would use him in tie games, and he wasn't as effective, kind of like what we've seen with Diaz. If it's not a safe situation, it just felt like he wasn't as effective. But the thing that got me was how hard he could throw. And I felt like he nibbled quite a bit for somebody who could throw. Now, the stats will show, like, that's the other side of it. Like, good teams are going to have decent closers for the most part. Like, Danny Graves, Francisco Cordero, and Aroldis Chapman's save percentages are about the same. And they're three totally different pitchers. So, but no, I thought Cordero had a nice run with the Reds. It was a good signing.
I'll never forget when he almost fought Gerald Laird after a Sunday Cardinals game. So
That's right. And that puts them up a notch in our books.
Yeah.
All right. The moment people have been waiting for, I'm sure. Top 10 lists. Now, again, we kind of chose our own adventure, so to speak, as to what our top 10 were. I did a poor job communicating with you before we each made our list back then, I seem to remember. But I will go through mine, we'll go through yours, and then we'll kind of revisit where we are now. All right. In February, as spring training opened, I went Ellie Hunter, Matt McLean, Brady Singer, Nick Martinez, Tyler Stevenson. He's been hurt. We didn't know that. Gavin Lux, Taylor Rogers, TJ Friedel, and then I did the famous Alexis Diaz or Austin Hayes. All right. Yours went McLean, Lodolo, Stevenson, then Ellie, Diaz, Lux, Hunter Green, Friedel, Singer, Hayes.
Hey, only one of them really sucks. The other's just hurt.
Well, and you had Diaz pretty high though for what he's
Yeah,
turned out to be.
I know.
All right, let's do this way. We're going to start at number 10.
Okay.
And we'll go back and forth. And that way we can kind of compare notes on where we have each other. So you go first. You're the guest host tonight. Number 10 on your list.
Jose Trevino,
Okay.
because we obviously know how well he's hitting. I don't suspect he's going to hit this well the rest of the year, which is okay. But he has been, and the fact that he's already signed a long-term extension is awesome with the team. But everything they've gotten from him and Austin Wins and the absence of Tyler Stevenson has been phenomenal. And Tyler Stevenson, like we said, sounds like it's very, very, very soon he's going to be back. So he's still going to be needed. You know, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot more DH days for Stevenson than there have been in the past, and that's perfectly fine with his bat. So Trevino is going to have to be the guy to step in there. I do think Austin Wynn certainly deserves to be on this team when Tyler Stevenson comes back. How they're going to do that is interesting to me to kind of balance all three of them. But I think for him, for Jose Trevino, that is, he's going to be extremely important for the Cincinnati Reds, whether he is catching every few days, whether he does get a couple days of DH as well. You cannot limit his playing times like a whole lot with when you get QB1 back.
I agree. I think the thing about Trevino also, they had the Jim Day podcast episode where he had Trevino on during the rain delay today. And I was reminded that, I mean, he didn't even bat an eye. He's like, yeah, I want to be a manager. Like, you can see it. And the Reds obviously acquired him and then saw him in action. And again, I know in 2019, David Bell and the front office staff and his on-field staff, I know they all worked together really well and they set up certain things and it felt different and exciting and new. But I think Francona, man, he just basically moved into the front office there over the winter. And I think they're all of one mind. And once they got him in the clubhouse in spring training and saw, again, this isn't even seeing him play real games yet. They gave him an extension. They saw who he is as a leader. They saw who he is in a communication role with the pitching staff. I agree. I have him at number 7 on my list. Nice. I think he's been that important, especially since Stevenson's been hurt. So it's been amazing. My number 10, I went ahead and put him on here because I think he's just been great. Tony Santillan.
Yeah, good one.
I mean, listen, last year they waited till like June to bring him up. And we couldn't figure out why. He was doing great in Louisville. And I don't know, there might have been an innings limit or there might have been something they were dealing with him to try to, get him back on the horse or something like that. But for me, he's been really good this year. He throws super hard. He's very intimidating. He's a big dude out there.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, your number 9.
My number 9 is Emilio Pagan.
Hey, mine too.
Yeah. So just kind of, I don't have to get into it. Everyone's heard me say it. So I'm trying my best to avoid the conversation over and over again. But he is the 9th inning guy. And Terry Francona has flat out said that he is the 9th inning guy. He has earned the right to be that guy. And he has flourished. He has absolutely flourished for this. And he's not getting a ton of strikeouts by any means. But what he is doing, he's getting people out. And that's all you can ask for him. Obviously having a great year. He's got 8 saves now. His pitching run value is in the 92 percentile. His fastball value is in the 93 percentile. He's not giving up a lot of hard hit at bats, shockingly. And dude, he's getting people to chase. He's getting a lot of strikeouts, a lot more than I thought he would. So he's been, a guy, you mentioned it, a guy who last year battled injury. And I thought really had to have a really nice year for the Reds. They had to have a really good bullpen. I mean, did we think he'd be this good? Absolutely not. So really happy that he's having the year he's having. And yeah, man, he has been terrific.
Well, we're 5 weeks into the season tonight as we record this. And I'm still hearing guys like Jeff Brantley, Tommy Thrall. I mean, I'm hearing John Sadak. I'm hearing them just astonished at how fast he's throwing because we never saw that last year. He never was right last year. He signed a free agent deal. He did his best to show up and be there. He went on the IL a few times. But even when he was out there, he wasn't his best. He lives around 95. He's touching 97.
Yeah.
And for a guy like him, that's just, and listen, remember one of the things that was a concern was he might not have been the best guy to pitch in Great American, we thought.
Mhm.
And that felt like it was proven last year. But again, we didn't know what he's going through exactly. And we didn't know that he had spent the whole offseason unable to really train and things like that. So, no, I'm with you. He's my number 9. And, I'm fine. He is the ninth inning guy. That's where they're using him.
Yep.
But I'm also fine, like saying, hey, high leverage, that kind of thing. We'll see where we need to fit him because you're getting to the point where, and I didn't end up putting him on my list, but Graham Ashcraft can be, he's the closer
Dude.
in training, and
Yeah,
that's
for
filthy.
sure.
Completely filthy. In fact, he may be better right now than either Pagan or Santillan, but
Certainly
those
make
two
the
guys,
case. I mean,
those
today he
two guys,
basically won them the game.
right? Those two guys' roles so far are more cemented, I guess, is my reasoning on not having him on there. But I'm just saying, like at any point, you could go mix and match, and I've
For
never
sure.
really I've I've never really wanted to do that. I lean more in on I don't think that many guys can pitch in the ninth. I think it's a mindset. It's like, and I wasn't a good tennis player growing up, but when I played, it was like I could get the 40 love and then I would still lose because I just couldn't close it out. I just didn't, like in that sport. I didn't have that. So, all
Were you
right,
a
your
Sampras
number 8.
guy?
What's that?
Were you a Sampras guy?
Uh, no, I was actually more of an Agassi guy.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, I have his book behind me here, right there, open. Yeah, good book, Andre
Yeah.
Agassi. Yeah, I was more of an Agassi guy. What about your number 8?
Noelvi Marte.
Okay.
Kind of all the reasons we just talked about, but it's kind of nuts that you can make the case he could be 4, you could be 3.
Mhm.
But with him, I think just kind of keep doing what you're doing and you're helping this team out. But with what they're not getting from Candelario, what they're not getting from Strand, the Reds do need him to keep doing this
Mhm. Absolutely.
to keep Steer at first base where he's playing really well, to keep you at third base where you're playing really well. Because right now, this is as good as it's getting for the team with the infield that they currently have.
You're right, and Espinal certainly can go in and
Yeah.
have a give Marte a day off here or there and whatever. But in Espinal, I'm really liking him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had TJ Friedel at 8th. I think he took a touch longer than maybe some of us would have liked to get going, but
He's been good.
I mean he's hitting over 280. He's getting on base. Timely bunts, we all love those, right?
They're fun when they're executed correctly. Yes.
Well, and that's why you don't just have everybody do it. In my
Right.
opinion. Like it's a weapon when he does it. So for me, he's good. He's good enough in the outfield, especially in Great American Ballpark. Center field not as big. I think he's a good guy to have out there, and he's showing. He took what Terry Francona wants him to do to heart. He wants him to not try to drive the ball necessarily, and it's the Willie Mays Hayes, hit the ball on the ground and leg it out. So there we are.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. So his chase rate is in the 87th, and his whiff rate is in the 95th percentile. So he is basically elite at making contact.
Sure. And we've discussed before, we don't need 9 cleanup hitters.
Yeah, we don't need Ricky Henderson. We just need
Right. But I'm just saying they're different guys have different roles. They're not all going to be Ellie.
yeah.
They're not all going to be, Hayes, right? Some guys are going to need you're going to need something just a little bit different. All right, how about your number 7?
Tyler Stevenson. Simply put,
Oh,
come
still.
in, fit in, and do what you're doing, and fit right in with what the club's doing right now, buddy, because you're the missing piece.
QB1. QB1. Absolutely. And I had Trevino 7, so we're catcher minded there, but it will be interesting. I think Wins is definitely the definition of journeyman, and
For
he
sure.
hasn't played himself off the team yet, certainly. But at bats will be a little harder to come by if and when they do bring Stevenson up. All right, how about your number 6?
Spencer Steer.
Okay.
He's kind of finding himself a little bit. Today was his first homer of the season at home.
Okay, yeah.
After that brutal start, we could just tell that it was just taking him so long to catch back up with where he was from all the time he missed in spring training to where he's at now. And really, man, he's not swinging a lot out of the box. I mean, he's not swinging a lot out of the strike zone, and is really finding himself. And I mean, has where they really needed something from Candelario, they really needed something from CES at the first base spot. he has done what they needed from him so far. So right now in his last 7, he's hitting 286 with a 355 on base percentage. He has 2 homers. Says a lot compared to what his season looks like. So he's definitely he's slugging 500 in this last 7 games too, by the way. So
Yeah, no, he's been great. And listen, there's been some things early on when they weren't winning. They had some base running gaffes, and they've had some defensive things, especially with Candy out there at times earlier, much earlier. But one of the really only like questions I have about decision making came when they broke camp. They went to Dayton, and they went ahead and had him play for the minor league team.
yeah,
Spencer
that made
Steer.
no sense to me.
But they hadn't announced yet about Hayes. Hayes got scratched from that lineup. I think they might have known when they broke camp that his hamstring was bad, but they hadn't done anything about it yet. But the thing was, one of the only decision-making questions I have about this new regime came when they went from 5 days earlier saying Steer's going to start the year on the IL. It's what's best for him, and it felt like a panic move because Hayes was suddenly out of the picture, and they kind of force-fed him in there, and they got him a full round of at-bats in that game on the minor league team.
He had a homer in that game.
Yeah, but it's like, wait a minute. He hasn't been doing I know he was in the backfield working, but he was working so hard on his shoulder as throwing that I don't know that he was ready. He didn't have the at bats. Like he basically he got that injection, and then he didn't appear in games for a long time. And see, I think what you said's right. He had to really hit the ground running and just work his way back in with the lights on, right?
Yeah, and I really loved. So he was on Gym Day a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about
very honest about it. Everything.
Yeah, he said he's always like, he's like, I know I'm a good enough hitter, and I haven't even had 50 at bats yet. And he made the kind of point that everything's magnified in April. He goes, if I go through this stretch in June, no one's talking about it as much. So
yeah, but you can go through that stretch like with no injury. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like there's a it's easy to point a finger and say this is why this is happening. And look, I think we've even learned more. I've been like throwing the light on this the most, like as much as I can. Like they went from never saying a word about his injury last year to, as we've gone along, we're learning more. It happened in June of last year, which, oh, by the way, in April and May, he was on fire at the plate.
Yeah.
So I stand by. I think I asked you on a show in like July or August. I was like, don't you think he has to be playing hurt? Like, it just wasn't the same guy. And he wasn't going to hit 340 all year. I get that. But still, just crazy. Now, I think you did things a little different at the top of your list. But I'm in my number 6, Brady Singer. He found out yesterday that, yes, he can pitch and not get any run support. But he had 6 innings and only 1 run given up on a day when he absolutely really didn't have his stuff. And he still only gave up the 1 run. He's been exactly the night that they traded Jonathan India for Brady Singer. I was at a high school football playoff game. You went on the air live, and I'm like, dude, this is a great move. This is from everything we talked about that night, everything you read going forward. It's exact. I mean, the innings, the solid of like he's gonna be there. He's everything we were looking for.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Glenn Powell too, so he's got that going for him. So kudos.
Good, very good time to look like Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what to say to that. What do you have at number 5?
Matt McClain. I've said it all throughout this whole slump. I am not worried. I really believe his approach is still good. He's had some bad swings for sure. He's had some strikeouts where you kind of bat your eye at, but big picture, he's making hard contact. He's hitting opposite field. That hit today, I know the game was out of reach when he got it, but that was still really nice.
Yeah.
He's gotten a hit in 3 of his last 4 games.
So
you got one of them was an infield single yesterday, but you take it. So I think it's coming, man. I think he's about to kind of like just turn that corner. And like, look, we're talking about a guy who missed all of last season, who had an IL stint already once this year, and the defense has not fallen down a bit.
No, he's great. And one of the hits he had, the first hit he had after that long stretch without getting a hit was maybe in a broken bat, little duck snored into right field. The previous at bat, he had a rocket to center field that I thought might get out. And I'm like,
it sounded like it off the bat. Yeah.
Right. So So yeah, I'm sitting here. He's not on my list right now because as I look at it, I'm like, who's doing what now? But if I'm making a projection, I would have him up there 2 or 3. So yeah, he's everything I want him to be going forward, I believe, and I think he's going to be great. I had Gavin Lux. It could still be argued that if you get everybody back healthy, technically Gavin Lux is like your utility player,
Yeah.
but he's playing like an everyday whatever you want to put him. If we didn't have Matt McLean, he could be an everyday second baseman.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, he could be an everyday left fielder if you really wanted to do that to him. But I, I've been way more impressed than I expected to be
Me
from.
too. I did laugh the other night when he had his first experience of playing left field at GABP at 640.
That's right. That's right.
But
Oh, but he felt awful. Did you hear his comments?
yeah,
Like
he did.
he was like, "That's the only run that Martinez gave up." He's like, "I felt terrible," and Martinez is like, "Well, I thought it was gone, so don't worry about it." Yeah, that was sad. I remember sitting out there in left field. I think I've told you before. One or two of the years the way I got opening day tickets was buying the Baker's dozen or whatever,
Hmm.
and we would get those bleacher seats because it was what I could afford and all that. And it was like that was miserable. Even you get into July and
Oh
7:10
man.
start, it was miserable out there.
Yeah, I had Terrace Outfield season tickets my first 2 years. I had them. They're in 103. And yeah, man. 7-10 game and Chris Heisey's running out there and you're like, I think that's him. It was pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't see. First inning and a half, you probably, middle of second innings before you could actually see home plate.
It's probably why I wear glasses now. It's probably those games. Yeah.
You were looking into the sun. All right, who's your number 4?
Who is my number 4? Ellie De La Cruz.
All right.
Because I feel like for him, I mean, what we've seen of him of late has been unbelievable. I'm sure you, as a Reds podcast host like me, are extremely sick of hearing people say he should move to the outfield. I want to throw things every time someone says it to me. And he's become patient. And I think that was kind of the next step, right? I mean, like, he completely brought his OPS up a lot. And I know he still kind of has I didn't really wasn't really upset at the error today. It's kind of a tough play. But he makes plays still that no one else can make. And sometimes you really need that, especially when you have guys like Brent Suter going out there who give up hard contact, and guys like who I like Brent Suter a lot. I'm not dogging him, but guys like that in the rotation, in the bullpen. And then, I mean, after the San Francisco series, a lot of people are like, why aren't they running? He's already up to, I think, second in the majors in stolen bases now, and that was 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah. No, and listen, teams don't want to pitch to him.
nope.
Even with Austin Hayes on fire, they still didn't want to pitch to him. So if you tell me you get everything you get with Ellie De La Cruz, and oh, by the way, he's going to get on base at like a 400 clip. I mean, come on. And it's like these discussions you have with some people of like, I'm sorry, he already was elite. And he definitely, as far as popularity and intrigue and all that stuff, but even on the field at age 22 last year to do the things he did, I just like, I can't say that he isn't elite. He is elite, and he's actually adding to that. And to our point earlier, you can put Lux or Espinal in left field because he's gonna
get the ball anyway.
I mean, you think about that. You can play those guys, especially at GABP. You can play those guys 5 steps in front of the track, and on a pop fly, you don't even see them come into the picture. And he's what they said. I think they said he was 210 feet from home plate at when he caught a ball, and it's down the line. He's running from shortstop. It's like I don't understand. It's amazing to me. And I've got Ellie number 1, so we're talking about him now. I still think if I'm ranking my list, I'm saying, hey, he's still the most important. I I still argue that by the end of the year, I might want to put McLean up there as far as importance because it's unfair to Ellie, but we're almost to the point where we're just saying that's what you're getting from Ellie. So you need more than that to build a franchise, obviously, because like I was hearing, you may not know of this because you're so young, but I remember vividly in 1988, the Orioles started 0-21. and they fired Cal Ripken's dad as manager and elevated Frank Robinson. I think that's the way it was. I don't think. Yeah, I think that's the way it was. And they were so bad, but they had Hall of Famers. Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray were on that team in their primes. And it's like you can have Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout,
Yeah.
and still not win.
Ken
So I
Griffey
guess
Jr. and Alex Rodriguez. I mean,
right. Well, and Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner and Randy
right.
Johnson. Let's go on down that list. But no, so like we're getting rapidly to the point where Ellie is the guy we just say he's up on that shelf over there. We already know what we're getting, but you're going to need this, this, and this, right? So I've got him number one right now. He's doing great. My number 4 is Nick Lodolo.
Okay.
And I did not have Nick on my preseason list. I
You did?
couldn't count on him. And again, remember, this was the first week of spring training we made the first list. So pretty quickly, because I, like you, read as much as I can and get as much information as I can from out there. Pretty quickly, though, I realized, and he was on Jim Day too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a minute. He had an off season of just training to get ready for the season. I don't know that he's ever gotten to do that. And here we are. He's more of a veteran now, right? Like he was in the 2019 draft, I think.
Yeah.
He's more of a veteran now, and we're sitting there on the precipice of this guy becoming Sale, and I'm here for it. And I didn't have him on my list to start the year. He's number 4 right now, and he's neck and neck with Hunter Green as far as how well he's pitching.
Yeah, I mean that's starting Colorado, and I understand you can tell me it's the Rockies, and I get that, but we all know with the altitude and how the ball moves there. I mean that was unbelievable, man. Like
Hunter gave up 3 runs.
Yeah, exactly. Believe me, I had plenty of people who told me that he owed Austin Hayes, and it's like, shut up, it's Colorado. Lodolo's just been excellent, and I was really worried about the K rate there for a little bit. But man, just the fact that he's found a way to become a ground ball pitcher has been just like game changing for sure. So especially with the defense he has behind him. So I love your pick, and I'm very excited about what he's brought to the team this year. I know he had that rough start in Miami. I'm not going to fault him for that. And he's been excellent. I mean, he's been every bit of, like you say, he's part of the Washington series. So,
and he's starting to throw that back foot slider a little bit to righties even more. So it's kind of interesting to watch that as well, because he's already been devastating to these hitters. They can't do much against him. All right, how about your number 3?
My number 3 is Gavin Lux.
Okay, we talked about him a little bit. What are you seeing? Like I said, I was surprised. You kind of said you were too, and maybe it's not surprised. Maybe it's more just impressed.
Very impressed. Just the way that he works a strike zone as a hitter, and the way that he commands when it's his at bat. You may get him out, but you're going to feel the at bat you had against him. It's not going to be a 3 or 4 pitch outing. Like he is going to like work you. And man, just his way to work counts, to get pitch counts up, foul off pitches until he gets the pitch he wants, or draw a walk when he's down in a count early. It's unbelievable, man. Like the fielding part's just a plus.
Sure, and he picked that ball off the wall in left field there on the previous homestand and got the out at second. It might be a chicken or egg thing. I don't know which it is. He was obviously the most prized prospect. The Dodgers refused to trade him for so long. So maybe he was always that selective at the plate and that good. But it can't hurt playing for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts famously played on that 04 Red Sox team, and a bunch of guys like Manny and all those guys that would take pitches and that kind of thing and just work pitchers. And I think that's really impressive as well. That's that's been great. That's been really good. I went ahead and put Austin Hayes at number 3.
He's my number 2. So
now I'll tell you, certainly I'm leaving a guy or two off here based on injuries or not being in the lineup quite as much. But I think I'm on the point, and I made the point earlier in the show. I'm at the point where he's as noticed when he's not there as he is when he is there.
Yep.
And so hopefully that, kind of works itself out that he can be there.
Yeah, he's my number 2 for that exact same reason. He's the LA protector. So
that's his job.
Yep.
Who's your number? You have number 2. Did you pulled a fast one, man, on number 1?
Yeah, I don't know if this is cheating or not, but it's our exercise, so I'll let your listeners tell me if so. I want the whole starting rotation because that is the backbone of the Cincinnati Reds organization, and that backbone is getting stronger. If you're watching what's going on in the minor leagues right now, um, I don't. I'm not worried about Chase Petty. I think he's going to learn so much from that outing, and I have a hard time being upset with a guy who didn't know until the day before when he was supposed to pitch against the Memphis Redbirds that he was going to be pitching against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Right.
Whatever. It sucks, but I think he's going to learn a lot from that, and I think he's going to be really good. He does have some stuff to work on for sure. But what they're getting from Hunter, Lodolo, Singer, Nick Martinez of late, Andrew Abbott. I know Andrew Abbott's walk rate's been up the last couple of games where we don't want it to be, but I still feel really confident when it's his turn to pitch. And the fact that Rhett Lauder's coming soon, he's pitching in complex games. The fact that they do have Chase Petty for if they need to have him come back, and Chase Burns is moving up the minors really quickly.
Yes.
There's so much to this team to like. And the fact that right now you can make the case of Hunter Green is it for sure at least in the conversation for National League Cy Young Award winner, and has looked so dominant at times this year. When Nick Lodolo, who's like found this new gear, and then Brady Singer, who's adjusted so well to Cincinnati, and Nick Martinez is finally finding his pitches. Where they go, this team goes. So
absolutely. And I've got Hunter number 2, Ellie number 1. Hunter, just amazing. You know, the thing about Chase Petty that I find interesting, he was compared to Homer Bailey based on age. The last time somebody younger made his debut as a starting pitcher, I think it was Homer. And the problem with that back then, if you remember, like they needed Homer Bailey.
Yeah, badly.
To be good. And they needed him out there, and they would let him out. I remember seeing maybe his second or third pit or his third start of his career, and it's like the 4th inning, he's already got 100 pitches.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my goodness, man, he's not giving up a ton of runs, but he's throwing so many
Hunter
pitches.
was like that for a while too.
But the thing about it is Chase Petty can go back down and work. And that's what's so great about the scenario now, because back then, you're talking Arroyo and Harang, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Cueto wasn't ready yet. And
he was kind of coming along then too, but not ready. But so this is positive, if nothing else. Now, I saw some folks like your good friend Carlos Guevara hinting that he doesn't have it yet as far as knowing what part of the zone to attack, and kind of, these big leaguers can tee off on those 100-mile-an-hour pitches and things like that. But that's part of the learning process. Hey, we're going really long here. We've got some great viewer mail questions. I like that exercise. Hopefully we can do this around the All-Star break as well. Maybe you can come back and we can go through those through the idea again. It just gives us a nice reset on where we are. We're two guys who, look at things slightly different enough to have several guys in the conversation. All right. We're going to go through viewer mail. I appreciate everyone who was able to reach out. This is great. I think because I put the bat signal out and your name was in the subject that they're responding. So I appreciate you for being here. If nothing else, we get some extra clicks. Our good friend Skylar Webker, who you can catch on Sunday night with Ben Brown on Late Night Reds.
That guy sucks.
He's filling somebody's chair. He's very succinct though, and I like that. All right?
He's very good. He's very good.
Concise. This his viewer mail submission. Concise. Why Alexis Diaz?
Okay. So I think I'm the perfect person for this answer, aren't I? Because I'm the one who is fully admitting how wrong they were about Alexis Diaz. Well, I said it all offseason when I was still on Late Night Reds. I said he is going to bounce back. And what we saw at the end of the year last year, he's going to bring that into this year. I was wrong. Buddy, that slider has no break right now. That slider doesn't even look like a slider. Like,
there were times even when he wasn't great, but he was just kind of average to good, that somebody might run into one. But Alexis Diaz is so effectively wild when he's right that nobody's going to go back to back on him.
Yeah.
There's just no way. And he's not right. And it's a mindset thing too, because remember last year when they tried to use him earlier in the game, or when they were behind, or this, that, or the other, he just didn't have it, right? He couldn't do it. He's got to go down there, and this is basically his chance. And
Yep.
we'll see. And again, this happens when a guy like Terry Francona takes over. He's just not going to put up with it.
No,
And
nor
you
should he.
know, and no, he's not. So that's why Skyler, and he's Louisville's problem for the foreseeable future. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Maybe the rest of the season.
Maybe. Kyle Kapler says, "Do we even need a first baseman at all?"
Yeah, I think it's important for baseball.
Somebody needs to catch the ball there at least.
Yeah.
I think Spencer steers him right now.
Mhm.
The joke still is we've got all the shortstops, but maybe other positions weren't really worried about as much, including the corner outfielders at times. But no,
It's like the Bengals drafting offensive lineman, right?
yeah, we can move you there. No, Kyle, it comes down to the fact that I think at least until I'd say the rest of May, I would guess Spencer Steer's going to play there. I don't think Spencer's going to play outfield. Maybe not at all this year. We'll see.
He's the best option they have to be defensively the first baseman.
CES can play there, but when you mix in the bat, yeah, absolutely. Joey Gaditza says, "Why is it so easy to despise the Redbirds? I mean, easily my kryptonite in all sports." Now, you're talking here, Joey, with a guy in Tim who has a hatred of all things Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Very proud to have that hatred, by the way.
So I guess I'll just say this on the Cardinals. Certainly the 2010 brawl had a lot to do with it. And you're talking this mixing of Walt Jocketty, rest in peace. We haven't talked about him at all, but he did a good job, right? Helping cross that finish line to get the Reds into playoff contention in the time he was with the Reds. But also, remember, the brawl included guys on both sides who had played for the other squad. I mean, Jason LaRue, Kyle Loesch. There was more.
Yeah, they don't ever talk about that part, do they?
I think they might have even had Felipe Lopez at that
They
point.
did. They did.
And so all this stuff. So there's that, but there's also this. And you can call me a hater if you want, but it's kind of what's happening with Michigan right now, where multiple other programs have problems with them, fights in the tunnel, fights in the field, things happening all the time.
Yep.
The Pirates went through this with Clint Hurdle later,
Mm-hmm.
but back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, that era, the Cardinals thought they were the best. They thought, and they'd earned it. They'd won divisions. I get it. But they thought that they could just run over people and elbow you in the face while doing it. And the Reds just decided to quit putting up with it. And as a fan, it's like, wait a minute. The Cubs hate the Cardinals. The Pirates hate the Cardinals. The Brewers hated the Cardinals. Everybody hated the Cardinals.
Yankees hate the Cardinals.
Yeah. So that's what it comes down to. Like, you look around the rest of the league and you think, well, wait a minute. We're not the only ones.
Yeah. It also, you probably feel this as much as I do, but having to see Dimitri Young wear a Cardinals jersey, having to see Eric Davis wear a Cardinals jersey, having to see Reggie Sanders wear a Cardinals jersey. Yeah. No, like Arthur Rhodes, whatever. That
Sonny Gray, man. Sonny Gray.
Yeah.
Oh. Andrew Williams chimed in. He kind of talked about this, the question Joey asked. He said, "I try my hardest to see them as I do any other team, but it just doesn't work. I'm wired to be a hater." When he makes up their fan base too, the best fans of baseball, right? The best fans of baseball.
Here's what I'll say: like, where I do hate the Pirates more than I hate the Cardinals, and my reasoning is, I think the Cardinals have earned the right to be respected for not only winning championships, but they've done it the right way. Pittsburgh has not earned that. They have a wild card win against us, and that's the only claim to fame they have. I hate that it's against us. I hate that it's against one of my favorite Reds pitchers of all time. But like, that's all they got. I mean, they got smoked in that NLDS. They get smoked in the next NLDS too. Sure. So like, they're bumps. They're a terrible city.
Okay.
The Cardinals at least have championships.
Back to the Cardinals. How nauseating was it to see they combined the pre and post game show?
Oh my God.
That
was the stupidest thing. I hated it. I turned on the TV. I had no idea what was happening. I'm like, why the hell am I seeing Mason win highlights?
And and then they, the Reds win game one easily, and they have to cut to the dugout to talk to the starting pitcher about his outing. It's like, no. And then today with the rain delay, they had different podcasts.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm watching Salvatore Perez. Like, I love Salvatore Perez. But
but no, the one I saw was Skip Schumacher got
oh, I
interviewed
saw that
by.
too.
But it's like they knew that they were going to be doing this, and they knew they might need content. So he's asking him all these Cardinals questions. He's like, "Well, you also played for the Reds, so
Yeah,
what about?" I was like, "Why? It doesn't mix. You're a regional sports network." No, no,
trash,
no, no. That was awful. We should have
trash.
talked about that earlier. Um. All right. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm now seeing at the bottom you said don't read my comment on air. So I didn't think I went too far with your comment there. Um, and it got us on a good topic there. Joey,
Andrew just had a kid. Congratulations.
yeah, absolutely. Good job. Yeah. Rex Scott says, "Hi, hey Tim Daniel, isn't it cool to be a guy with two first names?
It is.
Also, which Kiss song best embodies your hopes for this season? I was thinking hotter than and praying it won't be tears are falling. Tears
Uh,
are falling. We don't want that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a deep cut. Oh man. First off, that's a phenomenal question. That cracks me up. So I'm gonna have to pull up my Spotify real quick because I have to do some deep thoughts on this. So for those who don't know, I get made fun of this for a lot, but like I am a diehard Kiss fan. Like diehard. I've seen Kiss in concert 4 times.
Oh wow. At your
Yeah.
age, that's hard to believe.
Yeah. So my dad used to take me to games all the time. When I was younger. So like I've just always been take me to games, take me to Kiss concerts. My
Mhm.
first concert was Kiss and Ted Nugent, which is really funny because
Wow.
I hate everything about Ted Nugent
Cat
nowadays.
scratch fever.
Yeah. Um, ooh. So I will go. Hmm. Is it like too cliche to go rock and roll all night because it's about just having a great time watching in this case, like we just want to have the best time possible watching a good baseball team?
Do you remember the show Dharma and Greg?
Absolutely.
And Greg thought they had a party and he was singing the words and he said rock and roll all night and part of every day.
Yep.
And she's like, honey, it's every and party every day. He's like, wouldn't you be exhausted? I will say I was made for loving you
Love
because
it.
when my son was like 5, he saw it on a Scooby Doo and wanted me to download it. So I still have that. That's the one Kiss song I have. Hey,
I
Sid
played that at my
Price.
wedding.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. That's good. That's good. Sid Price chimes in. Why is Jose Trevino and Austin Wins? These questions that don't really complete the question. I know that's, but she said, how do we look into this? And that's my
It's a
answer
great
to that.
question.
I saw this question. I said, I'll tell you why or how. We're due.
Yes.
We are due for good things to happen to us, for us.
Eventually, right, yeah.
I mean, how many times have they tried to solve the catching problem and it just hasn't worked? And
Man.
now you've got an abundance of riches. All right, we'll get this wrapped up here shortly. Branch Brown, my co-host last week,
My good friend.
he thinks Wins should play first base, but that might answer the other question earlier. He said, "Did Luis May exceed your timeline expectations?" He said he beat mine by 2 months. Yeah, because he was pretty wild, you know,
Mhm.
toward the end of spring training, and it was like, okay, this will be a good project. There's going to be a few of these guys are going to stash down there and get them ready.
It
And
is,
yeah,
yeah. It's really hard to not be excited about Luis May. It is really hard to not be excited about him. I mean, today I get it. He came in an 8-run game. Um, but I was through the moon with what I
he was
saw.
dotting that upper corner of that
Oh my
strike.
god, man.
And he,
Unreal.
the one time he walked off, he thought he had a strikeout. It was a little wide, but the one time it was a strike, I think. So
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. We'll wrap it up with this. Dave Magram says, if we can collectively rent a billboard, can we collectively create a fake baseball organization and buy Diaz from the Reds?
Um, do you think the Tokyo Giants would take him?
You never know. I mean, they could, it's like Timo Edwin. Diaz.
What's the team in that league that wears the Reds? The Hiroshima Carp. Yeah, the
Hiroshima Carp.
Yeah.
Listen. Let's just give him a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all on him now. I mean, people are going to work with him to try to get it fixed. But if he goes down there and he's mopey and doesn't, I mean, he could go right. He could, like you said, finish the year in Louisville and it's just over. That's that's it. And we are in a position as Reds fans, the team itself, they've got decent depth in that bullpen.
Yep.
And even in AAA and maybe even in AA, should the need arise, it's up to him. And they don't have anything too much committed to him at this point. So it is what it is, man. It's just
Who
he's
was it?
gonna he's gonna do it or he's not, and maybe he just can't. Relievers that Charlie Goldsmith had a thing that the three guys that led the league in saves, or the top three guys in saves from like 2022 or three, including Diaz, have all been sent to the minors since then.
Yeah, I'm trying to see because who was it? I think it was Pat Brennan, which don't get me started. Posted something about like the importance of Alexis Diaz with to the Reds, considering his they talked about his salary. I'm like, that's like nothing, absolutely nothing. What does he make? He's making 4.5 million, and
No,
it's like, well,
it's not.
that
That's not.
4.5 million is so important to the team. Like, no, it's not.
No, because they've sent away guys like Mustakis and Shogo, and I mean Mike Ford. Come on,
Candelario is on his way on that same conversation.
he
Like
is.
they're
He is.
they're trying to find the way.
I have it as June of next year before they finally cut bait on Candy, but it could come sooner. And
I hope
again,
so.
it's a brand new regime. I know
Yep.
Nick Krall's still there, but Terry Francona signed on, and like
He's the boss. You can tell.
it's not three dragon heads with one of them looking all loopy. It's it's the way the Reds had the two guys, Meter and Krall, and Tito's there. Tito's part of the machine,
Yeah,
and they're
for
not going
sure.
to put up with it. So, Tim, I've kept you a long time. I appreciate you. This has been fun.
That's been fun.
I'm very
Hey,
hopeful.
by the way, did I let you talk enough?
Did I let you talk enough? We're two Spider-Men pointing at each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I let you talk enough.
I hope I let you talk enough.
I hope the Tim Daniel paparazzi that showed up in Viewer Mail thought you talked enough. So but we can get you back again sometime, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, this is where my heart is still.
Yeah.
I know I went on to other places, but this is a brand that I'm very proud of, a brand that I worked really hard to kind of try to take to the next level. And anytime I'm needed, if I can make it happen, I will make it happen.
Awesome. Well, hey, Late Night Reds coming your way Sunday, 9 p.m. Jump in that chat.
Yes,
Let
absolutely.
Skylar and Ben know you're there. It's really good to hear from as many people as possible. And hopefully Tim didn't steal all of those folks when he went.
No, I actually it was yesterday, I think, during the doubleheader. I wore my late night red shirt on both recordings. So
Awesome. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So that's coming up. And as always, we've got Owen and Caroline. They're going to be hitting you weekly with Welcome to the Jungle. Fallout from the draft. They've done a great job
They did a
updating
really good job this week.
folks
Yeah, really liked
on
it.
the draft as a whole. But now, as we get into, are there more free agents to pick up? Are there things to do before summer hits and things like that? So we'll be seeing what they have to uncover there as well. And next week we'll be right back here on the Riverfront Reds Show. I don't know. What do you think? Smoked sausage, hot dog? Which was it?
Maybe a brat.
Ooh, okay. Maybe a big red smoky.
My favorite.
I like those. I love those as a kid. My mom would do them in a skillet. They're so good.
Do you know Billy DeVore, by the way, from the new Nasty Boys podcast?
No, I don't.
Okay, he's really funny. He's actually a stand-up comedian, literally.
Yeah, I now that I've heard you talk about him, but I don't
So
know.
he does this bit where, like, on his social media, where the team the Reds are playing, he tries to Cincinnatize their food.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably fun.
Okay.
And I think it was recently. It was Seattle, the Seattle dog, which I don't really know.
Oh yeah, it's the teal color, like the Mariner blue or whatever.
Yeah, he did a cheese coney of that with a smoky.
All right. All right. Well, Tim, thanks so much for Lisa Alberto, for Wayne Krinchicki, for Chad Dotson, co-author of The Big 50. So long, everybody. Have a great weekend.